Yo, 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 what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? How y'all doing, man? Boca, welcome. Boca 1528. Sorry about that. I'm monitoring myself on here. Yeah, man, we're gonna let it marinate for a second. Um, I just want to say what's good and welcome to I'm Jay Reed. Welcome to a Sunday night edition of the Reed Report. Tonight we're setting up for new trades for the week. Um, with fresh catalysts, earnings plays, crypto setups, and just some straight up, volatility on the way. You know what I'm saying? That's how we looking at next week. So grab your charts and we're gonna break it all down. Give a minute for some people to get in here. I want to encourage you to share the live, help grow the community. Follow your live creator up at the top. For all my TikTokers, RGP, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Like I said, this is a Sunday night edition of the Reed Report. Tonight we're gonna get into some, just some happenings for the week to see, it's a big earnings week coming up. Should be some good volatility in the crypto market. So like I said, grab your charts and we're gonna break it all down. But just a quick market recap from last week. The S&P and 500 and the major indexes, they cooled off after multiple weeks of gains. They finished slightly in the red. I think that was 0.2% on the week. So it just cooled off a little bit. The Nasdaq saw some mild selling off. With traders rotating out of the AI heavy stocks. Post Nvidia's earnings. So, a lot of profit taken on the Nasdaq. That's where most of your big tech stocks are listed. The Dow held up better, thanks to strength in healthcare and defensive names. So, that's what the overall indexes look like. Um, Key events that moved the market: tariff uncertainty. President Trump tariff policies dominated the headlines. Federal court tried to block them, but appeals court temporarily reinstated the tariffs. So the market didn't like that whiplash. It kind of, if you look at, like I was looking at Palantir's charts, and it went up and then it drastically went down, and then it recovered all the way. So big whiplash on that. Another market mover was the PCE inflation. April's PCE index came in at 0.1% month over month and 2.7% year over year. Softer than expected, giving bulls some hope that the Fed may remain on pause. Um, so basically, I was saying that doesn't look like they're going to cut rates. So they're just pausing for right now. Consumer spending was up 0.2% in April, showing signs of a slowdown. So a mixed signal when you compare that to with the higher income but lower credit card usage. So like I talked about this um, on one of my other streams, just basically saying like people are making more money, the revenue is going up, but they're not spending it. They're not using those credit cards. They're not buying, the discretionary spending is kind of, so big people are kind of tightening their belt a little bit, and they're saving that money, or they're paying off credit card debt, but just to have that available for what they think are going to be some bad times or troubling times in the third and fourth quarter. So like if you've been following me, I've been talking about that, and then crypto pullback. Bitcoin and Ethereum both pull back from recent highs, but Bitcoin is still holding above the key level of 105. And let me just look right now. Right now, it's slightly under that. It's at 104. So you, some people can look at it as a buying opportunity. But it was a reserve. I won't say reserve currency, but it was a safe haven for most people. Let's go to the charts now. It was a safe haven for most people. They were kind of looking at that as like I said, a safe haven, better than gold. A lot of people pulled out of gold and went to Bitcoin, to kind of capture that rise. But I think they sold off when it hit this high of 108 ish. Hit a ceiling up here. Actually, it went up to 112, but more recently 110 and 108. So crypto pullback basically. And you wonder, has the market stopped? I'm sorry, has the market topped short term? I believe it. I believe it has. I believe it. Um, and like I said, I encourage you guys to share this live. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'm streaming on multiple platforms, so I'll see you wherever you are, wherever you're inquiring at. But has the market cooled? You know, short for the short term, I think it has. I think you know there are just some key information that people are going to look at this week to kind of determine how they're going to trade through the summer. That's just my guess. Um, you know, and I don't know if we're, you know, AI kind of rebounded in the month of May. A lot of the big tech stocks rebounded. So, is are we just seeing that people are unsure about where tech is going, and so they're anticipating a cool off or a pullback from that? My guess is yeah. I mean, outside of Nvidia, you don't really no, well, Palantir. If you've been following Palantir, let me go to their chart. Um, Palantir, like I said earlier, they had a nice little V here, and I'm sorry for all the stuff on my chart, but it makes sense to me. Um, but yeah, so they have this ceiling here at 133 that they've been trying to get over for a while now. But they were on their way, and then some news came out with the tariffs, and then now they're right back up. I think pre-market. Look at some extended hour. They pull back a little bit. They're at 30 20, 130.20. So they are down a little bit. Probably open a little bit down, but that's probably a buying opportunity for myself. And I want to give a disclaimer. Um, this stream is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing discussed should be considered financial advice. Like, always, do your own research or consult a financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just strictly documenting a documentary, so to speak, of my journey into trading. I've been successful in the corporate America world, but that and that with that, it's I've picked up some pretty good analytical skills. So I want to apply that to the stocks again, because I was a finance major. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, but I'm not a financial advisor. So This is strictly I'm just documenting and streaming what I do, what my I won't say preferences are, but what my thoughts are, and my journey of being a I won't say a layman to trading, but I'm not a professional, so we're documenting what I'm doing and my insights, and you can take from that what you want, but this is not financial advice. So like I said, I go back to Palantir. They're they're I don't know what I was saying. I can't remember, but they, like I said, they pull back a little bit. Will it keep soaring after expanding government contracts? So they won this big contract. Oh, there was some. I won't say there was some bad news, but I was looking on Twitter, and people feel like they are developing this network where they're going to help merge in a lot of information that the government has. Um, which traditionally was segregated for a reason. But looks like they're gonna be a big player in that. So we'll see how that plays out in the short to midterm. So what sectors are holding up best? Um, I want to say healthcare. If you look at just look at get something here. Let's look at a heat map. You know, healthcare has um health services. Health services has typically been a good place to put your money in this time. To me, it's been the most predictable. It may not always perform like you want it. Like United Health, they've had some pretty deep crashes. Um, but healthcare and pharmaceuticals seems to be the best place, or I won't say the best place, but it seems to be, um, you know, it seems to have fared these troubling times the best. I won't say it's a guaranteed winner. Um, you know, like you look in health tech, um, you know, Bristol Myers Squibb. That's a stock that I probably was big on beginning of May, but it didn't really perform like I thought. So and then you got um, Merck. A lot of these guys kind of underperform. Eli Lilly, um, I believe they've gone as low as they can go. I won't say as low as they can go, but I believe they have, like as you can see on my 1 hour chart, you know, um, they're looks like they're on a good um, fib, and they just went over the 200 EMA on the 1 hour chart. So a little bit oversold when you look at the RSI, and maybe this absolute value, maybe it's maybe this was the pop, because as you can see, well, the momentum is still. I won't. It may have peaked out, so be careful getting into this. Right now, it's at 737. My buy zone is right here at 691. And we'll just move that back over here. Yeah, so like 690. My bone is like my bone. My buy zone is like 693. I just think for me personally, I think it's a little too risky to get in up here. But especially with this stock being as expensive as it is, I would have to use a ton of leverage to purchase, and so that means I could eat up my capital pretty quickly. So what zones are flashing warning signs to me? Like I said, make sure you guys share this live, and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. Because I'm trying to get more consistent on going live, and really take this streaming thing to the next level. like I said, I'm just really trying to hone my skills that I've developed in the corporate world, and kind of get back to my I don't know. I'm gonna say what I guess my aspiration. I wanted to be a Wall Street guy. And back when I was coming up, I'm a little, I'm at the stage. All this technology wasn't there. So, and I'm also a tech geek. So a lot of this stuff is just right up my alley, and I think it's fun. It's fun to me. But I wanna add value to your portfolio, and your strategies. Make sure you check out my read deck that explains my chart and how I go through things. But getting back to that, like sectors that have warning signs to me, when I look at it, I still just see the tech. I mean, tech is very risky. Nvidia is they're reaching recent highs. So there could be very well be a pullback on that. I mean, 140 got 140, and then we have 150 almost up here. So those that's just what's flashing warning signs, if you ask me. Like I wouldn't, I'm not saying don't invest in tech, because stocks like Nvidia are doing pretty good. Um, Apple's a sleeper to me. Apple, for some reason, Apple is getting picked on a little bit by the new administration. So and the tariffs really hurt them. I won't say it hurt them, but it put like I said, they were on the rise. I mean, prior to 2025, if you look here, they were doing pretty good, on a good trajectory. Then they just kind of, they had maybe some hope again here in February, but they've just been on the decline. It just can't get right, boss. Just can't get right. I got some bugs in here. Just can't get right. So you got some undervalued, I believe, stocks in here, but Qualcomm is one that I like as well. I think that they've gotten a raw deal, so to speak. So but other than that, like, there's a few others. I won't go into them all. But tech to me is a sector that's flashing red signs to stay away from it, so to speak. Woo! You ever had one of them sneezes that just doesn't come? Um, that was one of them right there. Then it came when I didn't want it. But so yeah, those are just some sectors that are flashing red signs to me. There are a lot of good ones, but I would be wary of the tech sector. Um, and when you ask does how do the tariffs and election season headlines influence investor psychology this summer? I want to say, these are just some questions that are asked. I want to say people are hopeful for the people that feel that things may not be going the way that they want them to go. I think they're hopeful and scared. So for this, I think it's a short election season. It's not midterm elections, but I think there are some elections that are important coming up, and I feel that they're hopeful and scared at the same time. And tariffs, tariffs is, I mean, what they call it, the taco trade. Trump always chickens out. Um, I think the market's pretty much been on that. Um, hindsight's always 2020. When these things get threatened, a lot of times you don't see it coming. A lot of times it's been on a Friday night after the market closes, and you're already bought in and you can't get out. And then once Monday hits, you just want to stop the bleeding. So many investors probably didn't have that insight or that margin or that what do you want to call it, that fortitude to stay in the trade. Um, 1, 2, 3. I mostly invest. I don't day trade as much as I want to. Um, for one, I also work a 9 to 5, so that puts me, it doesn't allow me to give the attention that I want to give to it. But so I mostly invest, and a lot of my plays will be investments. I'm sorry, that was just a question I had in the chat, but going back to, like I said, a lot of people got stuck in these trades and they just wanted out. They just wanted out. So the tariffs affected a lot of people, and the, the guys that probably have a more capital to just let it ride out, um, they stuck in, or bought the dip, and it came out pretty good for them. So the future though, because I think that's already baked into the market. That anticipation that these tariffs are going to be lifted now, if any, or not go through at all, or the taco trade, so to speak. Um, let me see what this guy's saying. Cool man, I'm looking at Regen. You should take a look as well. Best of luck. Appreciate it, man. I'll take a look at that. REGN. I'll look at it here. But just to wrap what I was talking up. Yeah, it's taking a big dump, but you may know something that I don't know. See, this is kind of typical of buying a dip. It says Regeneron Pharmaceuticals is in a court case with 23andMe, aiming to submit final proposals by June 12th with $100 million breakup fee. So I guess I don't know much about this company. Uh, Someone in the chat just recommended it. So once again, chat, do your due diligence. Don't just take other people's word for it. Um, but um, but yeah, so yeah, that was just but like I said, buying the dip. This is kind of the typical prototypical buying the dip. I mean, it does look like the momentum has shifted a little bit here, and it definitely is oversold. And the fib is showing an uptrend. So if this court case works out in their favor, this could be a good winner. What are you looking at? Looking at 25% retrace, and what a 20 probably a 20% reach, like 18% retrace to the 200 EMA. So I mean, yeah, good tip there. 1, 2, 3, but yeah. So a lot of people probably didn't have the funds to stay in trades, and they got out. So I just think, like I said, the tariffs are going to, if the market, I believe, already anticipates them not going into effect, at least to the top end of the percentages. But if that changes, I think that we could be looking at some movement, some volatility. All right, so market outlook week of June 3rd through the 7th. That's next week. That is, I don't know what week number that is. Probably 24. Actually, it's week 23. We're about halfway through, little more than, actually about halfway through the year. Um, so like I mentioned earlier, um, non-farm payrolls comes out Friday. So the Wall Street is expecting 130,000 new jobs. Um, a hot number could reignite rate fears, while a miss might boost rate cuts. So this kind of depends on where you're at. If you want, a lot of people feel like rate cuts will boost the market, and so maybe you're not. Maybe you're hoping for a lower maybe you're hoping that the job numbers don't meet. Um, but I think this administration wants they want the cuts, but they also want to they don't want to look like they're not creating jobs. So this is what I said. This is a lot of uncertainty, and this is where you bring politics into play here. So yeah, so that's definitely something to look at. ISM services on Wednesday. The services sector has quietly been softening. So keep an eye on new orders and prices paid. So that's one, and then the Fed speaks. Fed speakers all week. Any Donovich lean could act as a tailwind after the soft PCE. So anything that's like doomsday or that has a bleak outlook, um, it could send the markets into a tailspin. So again, this is when politics come into play and news. I've never seen news drive the market so much until this year. Like I always thought trading off of news was foolish. Um, because you always want to go with technicals, but if you just go with technicals and not take into account like the landscape, the atmosphere that we're in, you're gonna get wrecked. So those are just some market catalysts. That's like the overall macro look. But when you look at the micro look, you got tech. Watch for a mean reversion or a bounce plays post Nvidia. Qualcomm earnings may trigger sympathy in AMD, MU, and AVGO. So um, if Qualcomm and look at there, and they're one of my, and I'll get to that. They're one of my plays of the week actually. Qualcomm, if you take a look at that, they are like I said, they have dividends on the 5th, and they have earnings. They have earnings this week. Do they have, I don't, I don't know if they have earnings this week, but I know they definitely have dividends on the 5th. So I'll have to double check that, but my notes may be incorrect. But yeah, so they could trigger, and this looks to be rebounding. But if they come out, if they do have earnings, if they're good, then that could help out MU, Micron Technologies. I have a double top on the 1 hour chart. I won't say it's gonna hit this target at 82, but we may look at it, which is already done. It's fell to this support level at 92, and it bounced off of that. So you could get another bounce off of the 200 EMA at 96.18, and then it come back down to 90.94 ish. Um, you got that one, and then you have AMD. AMD is also, they're all basically on the 1 hour chart. They're all basically finding support and a bounce, and they're looking to retrace at least to the 100% level we're looking at. Um, Looking at 5% moves here. And then you have the other one I talked about was AVGO. Same thing with these guys. So make sure you take a look at that. And retail BBY and ON sorry, Best Buy. Got Best Buy. So Best Buy, I mean, we all know they got hit by tariffs, um, pretty bad because they get a lot of electronics from China or or those type areas. Again, a double top. It seems to have settled right on this right on this support level at 64 ish, and it's bounced off of that right now. So that looks to be good on holdings. Um, it's already hit its double top target, bounced off of that. So we should have some pretty good runs on those two stocks this week. Um, consumer sentiment is dipping, and guidance will matter more than earnings per share. So if they have good guidance, like meaning if the guidance that these companies determine their their expectation. They're gonna say what their expectation is, and go from there. Like so, but if they change, if it's a good, people take those expectations and then kind of equate it to what they think they're gonna make. So if they're good, then we should see a good run on these. But if they make any changes or downgrade those expectations, then we probably could see a pullback. But my guess is that they're gonna continue to see some good numbers. Um, Crypto exposed stocks, Coinbase, at Coinbase, and Coinbase and PayPal are consolidating. You can see that consolidation right here on the 1 hour chart. So we should, momentum's changed. We got that yellow warnings of caution is definitely oversold as far as RSI, and we're coming out of a pretty good uh, value. You can see the value of those, and we're basically momentum's changing, and volatility is low. Good because that could easily turn to the upside. So the Coinbase, and then you have PayPal. PayPal is also one that I'm looking at. And again, like I said, all these stocks, and we got a huge buy volume in here. Um, so over momentum's changing, oversold. Um, Value of that pretty pretty good on the downside. Um, Implied volatility is, I guess it probably may indicate a quick pop. So this may be something that you want to get in. That I won't say, like I said, it's not financial advice, but if I were trading this stock, which I've made this week, it's not high on my board, but it has good technicals. I would probably get in the first 30 minutes of the bell, and then wait for that pop. This may be something that I waste a day trade on. Let's see here, commodities and industrials, Alcoa, Alcoa Corporation, and this is strictly based on the price of aluminum. I think Trump's threatening what 50% tariffs on aluminum, so that could drive the price up, and of course it drives their earnings up. So they're at a good position right now to make a bounce. Momentum's changing, oversold, and you know got some mid-level implied volatility. So yeah, so like I said, Alcoa, another metal resources names could react to any China headline or trade policy shifts, and like I said, we've already seen threats of 50% tariffs um, on steel and aluminum. So watch out for that. Financials, um, quiet lately, but a miss or beat on labor. So if the labor data misses or beats, whichever side it comes out on, um, could shake up XLF and JP Morgan. and the banks. So see XLF. That's a sector fund. To me, they're a little too risky. And JP Morgan also the same. So when those numbers come out on non-farm labor, pay attention to that and see and watch how those two stocks react, to determine how you want to play those in the week. Um, so if Friday's job reports, and you'll have indication on that. But if Friday's job reports comes in hot, do we sell off again? I think so. I think we do because, like I said, if it comes in, um, if the if the what was I saying? I'm sorry. Like if it comes in hot, it's just gonna up in. It's gonna mean no cuts. And that to me is going to me that's more detrimental to the market right now than anything. No cuts. So um, will we get a soft landing setup, or are there cracks forming under the hood? I think there are cracks forming under the hood. Definitely think there are cracks forming under the hood. Um, and others ask, what would it take to break this sideways chop? Like it's the news. It's gonna come out. I think this week is gonna determine where we go, up or down. So be prepared to make money in any direction. Because it's definitely coming. I definitely think there are cracks coming. So I'm gonna take a quick break and I'm gonna come back with my plays of the week. So BRB. All right, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. Had to check on something real quick. So like I said, I'm gonna get into my plays of the week, and let's see here. Go to the chart. That's not a chart. Let's go to the chart. All right. Plays of the week. I pretty much already talked about them. And my number one play of the week, and like I said, this is not advice. It's just what I'm watching. My number one play of the week is On Holdings. On Holdings is they bounce off of the 35. um, down here a while back, bounce off of 35, and with volume breakout of above 36, 30, 38 targets. So you know my notes are a little old on that, but um, pretty much like I said, RSI is looking good. It bounced off of this number, bounced off of the 30. It's on that mid level. The purple line is above the yellow line, so that's gonna pull it up usually, and again it's the momentum is changing. You can see right here Fibonacci showing at least a retracement to 62. So we'll continue. This is my number one play of the week, and they've been doing they've been on a I won't say a tear, but they've definitely been on an uptrend as you can see here for a while. So my target on this one is 61.97. And get in as soon as you. I'm gonna get in as soon as I can get in, as soon as the market opens, because it wasn't something that I got in on Friday. My number two play of the week is Best Buy. Like I said, this is strictly based on tariff softening. I know there has been some talks of China, um, China and Trump not working out, but I think the market just is, they're really on this taco trade, and you'll probably have to Google what that means if you don't already. So technicals are looking good. Like I said, once again, it's bounced off of the 30 as far as the RSI, coming off of some negative absolute here, and implied volatility on this one is actually a little higher, and it's in the green. So we're this will probably be another one that I jump in as soon as the market opens. Um, and my target on this one is $73. So just what I'm doing. Like I said, it's not advice. Qualcomm, like we talked about, um, Qualcomm says they have earnings this week. I don't. Maybe my notes are off on that. I don't see they have earnings this week, but the market may rotate back into oversold on semis. So I'm just watching this. I mean, if the definitely oversold, not a lot of trust in that number. The absolute's really low, and the implied volatility is where you want it to be. So this isn't one that I'll probably wait and see what happens. But I'm watching it. I mean, like I said, I like Qualcomm. I like overall what they've been doing. As you can see, they've had some pops here after some downturn, and I just think this is one of those pops. I could be wrong. You know, if it jumps back up to the 200 May, then we're looking at a 4.8% ish, 4.18% return. So then we go to Coinbase. Like I said, these are ones that I've already talked about. Coinbase, same thing, same common theme. Oversold, um, coming off some hard times from last week, and we're looking for that 5% pop back up to the 200 EMA. Like I said, this is one that I will watch. Watch. I probably won't grab it as soon as the market opens, but I'll definitely be watching it. Alcoa, like we talked about, they are strictly a tariff trade, bid base forming, um, and what we're watching the volume. If commodities catch fire, this leads. So already talked about aluminum, the aluminum threat of tariffs and all that good stuff, and basically meaning prices of that product soar, meaning they make more money when they sell. Um, and last but not least, PayPal. Fintech is lagging, like I talked about earlier. But if there is one that does something, it would be PayPal. Um, so looking for a breakout, and we could see, or we could see a return to this number, 68, which basically 69 also. So again, wait and see play, but by the end of the week, I definitely think that we're, 71, 61 is not um is not out of the question. So those are that's pretty much my market recap of last week, and my early outlook. I'll be back in the morning streaming for my market mornings. I'll try to start at 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. Again, you're looking for a cryptocurrency trading platform, I highly recommend BTC Exchange. The link is in my bio under Linktree or um, in the description. You're gonna trade with leverage up to 500x, and if you use my link and you're a first timer to the site, you'll get a 10% bonus on your deposit. It may not seem like a lot, but it's a free 10% is always good for me. Also, if you're new, if you don't have a Coinbase account, and this is for beginners or portfolio builders, you don't want to trade, you just want to buy crypto. Use my Coinbase link for easy onboarding. It's also in my link tree, in the bio or in the description. Um, and if you want to start streaming and want to get your message out as well, I recommend Streamlabs for creators. Create better live streams, overlays, alerts, and tools I personally use. They're all in one place. That link is also in my bio and in the description. And if you're looking for hosting for your website for a new business, I recommend Bluehost hostings. If you need a website for trading, you can always use it's in my link tree as well. You can always hit up Next Phase Media. They're really good at working with companies and helping build a brand, especially what I want to call it, upstart, new businesses. So that link's also in my bio and in my link tree. So, thanks for rocking with me tonight, man. Drop your favorite ticker in the chat. And on my next stream, I'll make sure I give you some insight. Or if you want to do that now, I think I'm going to trade crypto for a little bit. I'll do that live after a quick break. So if you got a ticker or something you want me to check out or give you my take on it, definitely drop that in the chat. And again, my link tree is in the bottom, in the bio and in the comment, or not the comment, but in the description. Um, so I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. For market mornings. So stay tuned, stay sharp, and a reminder: we don't chase hype, we move with purpose. So after this, I'll be back after this break, and peace. Yo, what up? What up? I'm back. Um, like I said, I am going to do some live trading here. I've been looking at XRP. If you've been following me, you know that I go long on XRP, but I'm more comfortable with shorting it. And again, I use btcc.com to do so. If you want a 10% bonus on that, definitely hit the link tree in my bio and join BTCC. So it's a platform where um, you can leverage your trade up to 500x. So you got $1, you can trade $500. Keep it simple. But again, like I hold a few. I hold ICP. I hold Trump. I hold SWE. I had some MAD, but MAD's no longer worth anything. I think I sold it in time. I have some Soul. I have some Soul and I have some Soul. Um, I don't own any Pepe anymore. I got rid of that too. Bonk, I don't own that. Any of that stuff. But the Bitcoin, a little bit of Ether. Actually, I think I sold all my Ether. I wasn't a believer in Ether. Still have some Doge. And but again, like I said, I like to um short XRP. It's just my thing. And so I look for those opportunities. Look for when it's oversold heavily. And has some momentum downturn here, like we have now. So I don't know how this is gonna work out for me right now, but I'm looking at entry at like $2 2.187 1874. Stop loss of 220, probably 220, and a target of 208. So I'm gonna set that up on my BTCC account here. So like I said, my target is, I don't want to do target price 2.1874. Quantity, I'm just gonna do a little bit. I mean, um, trading advice is don't try to hit home runs, just hit singles or get walks. I mean, but don't try to hit home runs. You know, you could lose it all. So quantity, I'm just gonna go with 200. Not a lot, but and I'm using 50x, 50x leverage. So I'm just gonna do 200. I'll always set a stop loss and take profit. My take profit was 208. Do 208.9, or what was it? 208, 208.040, and my stop loss is gonna be at 220. I'm gonna open that short. So as you can see here, I'm shorting at the most recent top, and I have my stop loss set a little bit under that, but that's where I'm entering. So I'm really waiting for it to rise up to that number, and once it comes down, then then I'm in. How long did it take me to learn? I think it takes. I don't think you ever I'm trading futures, atomic trading, and the most I made in a month, definitely not hundreds of grands or anything like that, but and I just do this part time right now, so I probably say maybe five or something like that. Um, how long does it take to learn? Uh, I think you're forever learning, so it doesn't take long to learn the basics. I mean, you set up an account, you put some money in it, and you buy your. It's when you're talking crypto, you buy your first crypto. So it doesn't take long to learn that, but you have to understand that it's something that you want to always learn more. Like I don't think I'll ever learn. I definitely don't know all there is to know about trading or all the different types of trades, especially with crypto. It's kind of a crazy world, and there's always something, you know, there's always something going on there. So, you know, I think the basics: open an account or open a, whether it's a crypto account or a a normal exchange. Like I use interactive brokers, but there's a number of different. You could use a um, what is it, Robinhood. I mean, just open up a Robinhood account. That's the first step, learning how to do that. Learning how to fund it. That's connecting it to your bank account, and learning how to purchase your first stock. And then, well, first I would say learning how to research what you're thinking about purchasing, and then purchase it. Those are the four things you need to learn. Those are, to me, those are the basics of trading and investments. And you have to look at it like investment is a long-term thing, and it's not something that you want to get rich quick overnight. It's something that you want to you want to play the long game when you can. I'm sorry, you want to play the long game and the short game when you can, but don't take huge risk, and always learn something. Always read, always look at shows like mine, to see what I'm doing, cause and then look at someone else's show to see what they're doing, because you know um, it's like DNA. Everyone has their own identity when it comes to trading. So it's best to just pull from everywhere and create your own strategy. So that's my take on how long it takes. What you make in a month. You just want to look at percentages to start. You don't want to look at the amount that you make. You want to look at what percentage did I make on that trade, and if you can average the month, um, 10 or 20%, you got to look at that as compounded. It's not just, this month if I can make five, and then I can make five on that, and then five on that the next month, and five on that the next month. I think those are pretty good odds. So appreciate the question. I'm up. I hope you up. I'm up too. Um, so again, I'm shorting um, XRP right now. I have my target to open the trade at 218 740, and I have a stop loss set and a take profit. Always set a stop loss. To me, that's another thing you need to learn, is setting your range. That's probably the fifth thing you need to learn, because after that fourth thing that you learn, you're probably gonna lose some money. So once you lose that money, learn why you lost that money, because you probably didn't take profit when you had profit. So you need to learn how to properly set your range. To setting up your bracket, your wall. It's like, hey, I'm only gonna lose this much money if I'm wrong, and if I'm right, I want to make this much money. And don't set them at the maximum levels, especially your stop loss. If you have something and you map it out and you say, hey, I want to hit this target, but you have the same gap for your loss. So basically what I'm saying is, you probably want to start. I generally do a 4 to 1. Um, take profit or target. Like if just for instance, if I want to make $1, the most I'm gonna lose is 25 cents because I you could be wrong, and I don't want to be wrong and be stubborn about it. If I'm wrong and it pulls back, I, I was wrong. I'm not gonna compound that and say, oh, it's gonna turn. No, I'll just close that one out and rethink it and open another trade. You will minimize your losses. It's like golf. You want to minimize um the number of times you hit it. You just want to minimize. You don't want to, like, if you hit it in the woods, it's best to, and you have a shot on the ball. Of course, you could shoot that hero shot through 4 or 5 trees and land it right on the green. But you might as well just chip it out of the woods back onto the fairway, meaning get out of the trade, and then make a good approach the next time. So that's my 2 cents. Welcome, Brandon. Braden, sorry. Just going over some. Somebody asked me some stuff about learning, how long it takes to learn trading, and also have a short setup for XRP. Again, if you're looking for a place to short trade futures on crypto, BTCC is the place. I haven't found a better platform. They used to only be available overseas through I want to say it's another company, but definitely looks similar as far as the platform. But now it's available in the U.S. And if you're looking for that, click my link tree. You get a 10% bonus on my link. So I'm really just waiting for the morning. I'm excited to see what the market does. I don't trade as much crypto as I do. I'm probably about the same. I want to trade more crypto, but crypto is a 24/7 world, so you have to really be, I won't say dedicated, but you have to really have the time. So, excuse me, guys. So you have to set your stop losses and your targets when you don't have that time, and just hope you wake up in the money. And a lot, I'm in the U.S., so a lot of what happens late at night, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And I'm not staying up that late. Like I said, I work a 9 to 5, so they get at least 8 hours from me. So, what's up, Terminator? Welcome, welcome. You got any questions or have any stock you want me to look at? Just drop a link in the bio. Hold on 1 second. All right. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream tonight. We went over the market recap from last week, my insights from this week. The stream will be available on the links are in my bio. So check out the link tree there. You can go to whatever platform that you like and check it out. I'll have it up. I'll definitely have it up on there. I don't, I don't edit anything. You just get the raw deal here. Um, so like I said, if you're looking at this trade, it's not financial advice, but what I'm doing is I'm shorting at 218.740. have a stop loss at 220 and a take profit at 208. So we'll see how that plays out. Until the morning, like I said, we don't chase. We don't chase hype. We chase purpose. So make sure you do that. And that's all I got for you guys tonight. And peace.